Okay, let's get started here. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Akash Rao. I'm the manager of project development at NGen Canada, short for Next Generation Manufacturing Canada. Thanks so much for taking the time to joining us today. I'm honored to be on this webinar with our partners from the city of Maple Ridge, and Pitt Meadows Chamber of Commerce and Invest Vancouver. You'll hear from them about why companies should invest in Maple Ridge, Pitt Meadows, and Vancouver Metro regions, and also learn more about the resources and services that these regions have to offer. Following that, you'll hear from NGen about our current open funding programs, in particular our open funding program, the EV Manufacturing Value Chain Program, or EVMP for short. In your journey to explore opportunities to invest and continue to grow here in BC and the Greater Vancouver region, NGen and our EVMP program are one of the many tools in the toolbox you can take advantage of. Time permitting, we're happy to take any questions at the end of this presentation. That being said, I'll hand it over to one of our panelists, Tyler, to walk you through some of the slides from one of our partners, Invest Vancouver.
Thanks very much, Akash. Hello, everybody. My name is Tyler Westover. I'm the Director of Economic Development with the City of Maple Ridge, as well as the Vice Chair of Invest Vancouver's Advisory Committee. I did want to acknowledge that we're City of Maple Ridge is situated on the traditional and unceded territories of both the Katzie First Nation and the Kwantlen First Nation. It's important for us that we do respect those that have come before us and that are here still as active community members and partners as we're moving forward. Invest Vancouver, I wanted to speak about for a minute here, just to provide some context about some of the ecosystem that's here, some of the focus of this organization. It is a foreign direct investment agency, so one that's looking for investment coming into the area, as well as working with domestic investors that are here as well, and a lot of supports for folks like yourselves that are on the call here today or on the webinar. Cash, if you'd be able to go to the next slide. Just to provide a little bit of context, there's a focus on global audience, there's a focus on policy analysis, there's a focus on really ensuring that we are advancing shared prosperity and competitiveness here within the Vancouver area, as well as from British Columbia and ultimately Canada. If you can move to the next. A little bit of context once again for the Vancouver Metro region. So looking at the GDP growth within the area here, are GDP numbers here overall, 149 billion, nothing to sneeze at by any stretch. It means one of the most diversified economies in Canada. 2.8 million people here, as well as with 1.5 million workers. If we can move to the next as well. Should note that we do act as one full region. We are working together as municipalities, understanding that there is a lot of opportunity as we start to collaborate with one another in the areas that we certainly can. Obviously, there are focus areas for each particularly as they start to focus on what their locational strengths are and the supports that they can provide to investors or companies like yourself. We can move to the next, please. Wanted to talk a little bit more about some of the opportunities that are here in British Columbia and that we see here in the Vancouver Metro region. So items to be aware of, we have one of the largest ports in Canada, as well as one of the most diversified in North America, one of the top livable cities and regions that are here in the Vancouver Metro region. In Vancouver proper, over 60% of GDP and 50% of BC's population is represented within this area. And then, of course, we have some young, diverse talent from world-class institutions like UBC, SFU, a whole list of others that we'll go through in a minute. If we can move to the next slide, please. Once again, it's important to note that as companies are looking at this region, as they're looking to grow, that they can get their staff to where they need to go, as well as the goods and transportation system is strong enough for them to get to the markets that they need to. So with having the international airport, a number of regional airports within the area, post-secondaries that are here, good transit and connectivity throughout the region, we're seeing more often that companies are able to have workers that are living throughout the region here and being able to work, whether it be in the office or remote as well. So having good systems in place to support them. If we can move to the next, please. Wanted to speak about some of the academic and research institutions that we do have here. Those that folks would certainly know: Simon Fraser University, University of British Columbia, well-renowned and well-respected organizations and institutions that are here, continue to graduate great brain power and talent into the rest of the country and internationally, as well as we do have a number of the specialty schools and boot camp institutions, so to speak. So those like Lighthouse Labs that are here, Brain Station, Core Code Boot Camp, Langara College, Kwantlen Polytechnic University or KPU. BCIT is another one that folks would generally recognize within British Columbia as well as in Western Canada. We can move on to the next. And we are in a strategic location. So all of these opportunities that we see here within the Vancouver Metro region really make us a competitive location throughout the rest of the world. So being able to connect into key and strategic areas like the port and some of the trade advantages that come from that, as well as those that are in Seattle or in Portland, these major centers for those that are in digital systems or those that are in superclusters, or the opportunity for those that could be in superclusters with manufacturing as well as with technology adoption into those areas are very critical for us. I should note that there are a number of free trade agreements that Canada does have, and we have a number of reps that are within the local area here, the Vancouver Metro region, and across Canada, of course, that can help you in trying to find ways to connect in with other markets if you're looking to export and increase that GDP growth, so to speak, for Canada overall. Massive opportunity for all of us here. You can move to the next. You can actually go forward a couple more on this, Akash. One thing that I wanted to show here is just some of the different sectors that we are strong within, and advanced manufacturing being a critical component to all of this. We do have a number of green building companies, clean technology companies, those that are focused on really the new energy evolution and the new opportunities that are here with EV manufacturer or EVs themselves. There was one that myself and another Invest Vancouver representative had a chance to tour over just this last week, where they sell a lot of or manufacture and then engage with those with component manufacturer for those with fuel cell technology. So, and with EV technology. So certainly do have a cluster that you would be engaging with within this region here. And the expertise is here local and market as well. We can move to the next. Once again, just really wanted to show that there is a fast and growing transportation cluster that is within the Vancouver Metro region. So well represented across Vancouver Metro region itself, from North Shore all the way through to Langley and Maple Ridge itself. Low and zero emission vehicle and component manufacturers within the area of renewable and low carbon fuels and charging infrastructure, as well as that transferable technology and services piece. Well represented, and you can see that you really are plugging into an entire ecosystem of those that are looking to support and certainly make this an opportunity for all of us here in Canada as we move ahead. Next slide, please. Those specializations that we have noted here, we did want to highlight, especially with this audience here, and seeing if there are those that may want to interact or that we can further connect into the ecosystem here. So those that may be working on hydrogen fuel cell growth and production and storage, that's going to be critical for us as we move ahead. Those that are serving niche markets, including electric motorcycles, single occupant zero emission vehicles, and electric drives for mining equipment, is also something that is well represented here. We do have a number of companies that are working on renewable natural gas and biogas. And then just overall decarbonization of fuels is something that we see a number of companies that are focusing on here or have headquarters here in the Vancouver Metro region. And I know they're always aiming to connect with those, since this is a burgeoning area of growth and opportunity for the country. If we can move to the next. Ultimately, what we're looking at is talent, the innovation ecosystem, and the hydrogen and advanced manufacturing cluster here for zero emission industries. It's strong. It's something that we certainly want to support, and we do have a number of advisors that can be working with you, not only from an Invest Vancouver proper side, however, also with each one of the member municipalities that sit around the table. I know that they're always keen to engage, and we work very closely with each one of those member organizations and institutions that we have around the table as well to support you in what you need. We can move to the next, please. So we really provide information, data, research, policy. We collaborate with you, have been working more so on trying to get more opportunities to speak with other orders of government on competitiveness, on some of the key policy movements that we need to see across the country. So if you do have some of those items that you would like to have us aware of, even more so, I do encourage you to connect. In a slide or two, you're going to see a contact there from directly within Invest Vancouver. Certainly feel free to reach out to myself as well, and I'm more than happy to continue that forward. But we do really need to make sure that we are fostering that economic development potential throughout the entire region, and that we're working with this changing economy as it's moving so quickly for us, and the new opportunities are here. We want to make sure you're supported in what you're doing. Next slide, please. So here is one of the contacts, Brian Buggy, Executive Vice President. Please do feel very free to reach out to him. I know he's quite responsive. Feel free to reach out to myself if you have any other questions on Invest Vancouver and how we can support you as you're moving ahead. And myself as Vice Co-Chair of the Advisory Committee, am very keen to understand what we can do to support you in an Invest Vancouver perspective, as well as within our own representative jurisdictions as well. So I want to thank you for your time. I'm going to provide the floor, so to speak, over to Christy Meyer, the Executive Director to the Ridge Meadows Chambers of Commerce. And we'll be back to you shortly.
Thanks so much, Tyler. And thank you for having me today. So just a quick intro. Like Tyler said, I'm Christy Meyer. I'm the Executive Director of the Ridge Meadows Chamber of Commerce. I'd also like to acknowledge that I'm currently seated on the traditional territories of the Kwantlen and Katzie First Nations. So I get this a lot. What is a chamber? Just in a snapshot, a Chamber of Commerce is an organization that represents and advocates for the interests of business and business professionals within a specific geographical area. We have our local chambers, our provincial chambers, and our federal chamber. Chamber of Commerce are a membership-based nonprofit organization and serve a hub for networking, business support, and economic development. Next slide, please, Akash. Perfect. So these are our three pillars: advocate, connect, and educate. I'm just going to go quickly into a little bit more the key functions and activities of our chamber. First is advocate. Advocacy is a huge part of our chamber. Our local chamber lobbies on behalf of our members to promote pro-business policies and regulations at a local level. I attended the BC Chamber of Commerce conference here in June, and there were 2 days of policy work that we had developed, and I look forward to attending the BC Chamber Conference in 2024, put forward some more policies. Another thing that we do is networking. We provide opportunities for business owners and professionals to connect with one another. We host our monthly event, networking event called Business After Hours, and we have between 30 and 60 individuals attend these events. They're extremely popular, and it's really a great way to grow your business, is to network with other business owners or business professionals within your community. Business support, we offer a range of resources and services to help businesses thrive. This includes business development workshops and educational programs. Community engagement, we play a role in the community overall, in the community's overall development and well-being. We feel extremely grateful to be representing two vibrant business communities and to be working alongside the City of Maple Ridge and the City of Pitt Meadows. So we represent two communities, being the Ridge Meadows Chamber. Information and resources, we provide members with information about local business opportunities, economic trends, regulatory changes that may impact their operations. Member benefits, I won't get too much into that, but with your membership, you get member benefits. One of them being our health plan, our group insurance plan. The Chamber's group insurance plan is #1 in Canada, and it is a pool plan. So if you are interested in group insurance, the Chamber plan is a wonderful option. Promotional and marketing, promotion and marketing opportunities. We promote our members through our online directory, website, and publications, helping businesses gain visibility in Maple Ridge and Pitt Meadows market. I'll move over to the next slide, please. Great. So manufacturing in Maple Ridge and Pitt Meadows, the Chamber has 148 members related to manufacturing industries like plumbing, food, automotive, aviation, and so much more. Maple Ridge has over 300 hectares of industrial and employment land available. This is a huge draw for all manufacturing businesses of all sizes to conduct business in Maple Ridge. Just to get a little bit into Pitt Meadows, the South Bonson area of the city of Pitt Meadows is home to both Pitt Meadows Airport and Ani Golden Years Business Park, that being 200 acres of industrial land with approximately 4 million square feet of space for warehouse and light industrial. Currently, Pitt Meadows has Amazon located in their industrial. And the Golden Years Business Park hosts, like I said, Amazon's operations, 145,000 square foot delivery station. One of the reasons Amazon chose this business park is due to the access to key transportation routes. Next slide, please. So one of the things that Chambers of Commerce and Board of Trades offer their members and non-members are certificates of origin. So a certificate of origin, CO, is a document issued by our chambers that certifies the country of origin of a product. This document is used in international trade to provide information about the place where a product was manufactured, produced, and where it proceeds. Certificates of origin play a critical role in trade transactions as they can affect customs duties, trade agreements, and importations of goods into the particular country. The Ridge Meadows Chamber authorized over 100 certificates of origin a year, products consisting of metal, lumber, tools, and so much more. Next, please. Great. So that's all from me. Maple Ridge and Pitt Meadows is really they're wonderful communities to open a manufacturing business or any type of business for that matter. We are dedicated to economic growth and helping businesses grow within these vibrant communities. And if anyone has any questions about the chamber, our local chamber, or any chamber, I'm more than happy to take any emails. I will be sending an email out just introducing myself and my information following this presentation. Please feel free to reach out with any questions. I will pass it back over to Tyler.
Thanks very much, Christy. So I should also note that Christy and her team and myself and my team work very closely with one another, as well as she's with our mayor and council quite often. We have a great relationship. She is absolutely correct. These communities are very interested in good and transformational growth and are working towards it. So she is a big part of that equation. So thank you for that information that you shared and for really the ongoing partnership. Cash, if we can go through the next slide, please. City of Maple Ridge is within Vancouver Metro region. Wanted to speak with you really briefly since this is a community that I represent and we are a very active member of Invest Vancouver. We're an opportunity for those that are looking at establishing a location within Vancouver Metro region or into the Fraser Valley itself. So we've been seeing transformational growth, 10.6%, do have good connectivity into the rest of the region as well as out to the United States border, and are working more closely with our partners within the Pacific Northwest region, which allows immediate access for about 13 million people, which is oftentimes something that folks forget within the Vancouver Metro region. We can go to the next, please. Here are some of our target growth sectors. So you can see squarely within there the manufacturing and advanced manufacturing is something we're very keen on. We do see a number of advanced manufacturers that are within Maple Ridge, as well as on the green economy side. So I know that's a pithy statement to be made. It's one that's maybe less particular than what folks would like to see, but that really does encompass a number of technology or manufacturing advancements that are focused on decarbonization or just on green innovation itself. So certainly did want to make sure that folks were aware that that is a key target of ours as we grow ahead. And we're just really proud that a number of companies make their products in Maple Ridge, and we want to continue to make it here, so to speak, and have others start to enter that fray with us as well. We can go to the next slide, please. These are the salient facts here. I just wanted to make sure that folks are aware we're a growing community. We have 90,990 people. Based on last census, have seen 10.6% growth, anticipate that to be the same as we go into the next census period. We are very closely approaching growth targets that will hit 150,000 in a very short order. So we're seeing substantial growth on an annual basis. We do have a very high household income as well. So one of the highest that's in the Vancouver Metro region, as well as competing with major CMAs across Canada. So we'll have a slide to be able to go through some of those pieces. Christy is absolutely correct. We are seeing good growth on our industrial front and non-residential front. That's within Maple Ridge. Certainly Pitt Meadows also has quite a few opportunities that are there and new developments coming in. Right now, we certainly do have about 160 acres that are actively being developed of industrial lands. So those will be able to accommodate folks likely within the next couple of years or so. And then others that we are working diligently towards on our next growth areas, so to speak, and a few really interesting projects that we'll talk about in a second. And then once again, we do have a new economic development strategy that is focused on non-residential growth, and those being within advanced manufacturing and manufacturing. If we can go to the next, please. So actually, Akash, if you can just take a couple of seconds and go through probably the next 4-5 slides on these. Really quickly, what I wanted to be able to show, and you will get these slides after the fact, just wanted to make sure that you're aware of it, is we do have regional assets within Maple Ridge that connect us very tightly and easily throughout the entire Vancouver Metro region. So regional airports, some of these regional bridges that are here, by and large, what I want you to pay attention to is the bolded times that are there. You're approximately 30 minutes to each one of these different areas, whether that be to Vancouver itself, whether it be to the US border, whether it be to the ports themselves, and being able to get folks really through the entire region itself. Akash, if you can go through the next 2 as well, that would be great. So we have a commuter train that's here. We see a ton of folks that are going right into downtown Vancouver. And recently we have launched Maple Ridge Moves, that is focused on bus rapid transit. So having faster than even, just regular kind of rapid transit that we would see already existing in Maple Ridge, but effectively like a light rail or SkyTrain, but with buses. So having dedicated lanes and anticipating that we're going to see good service starting to move forward with TransLink's 2025 investment plan. So we're diligent and underway right now with a number of plans on that side and working with them. If we can move on through the next, please. We're also a port community. So for those that are wanting to ship products, with whether it be a likely barge up through the area, it does seem like it's a bit of a ways to the ocean, but really it's not all that long and it's fairly underutilized. So we've been having regular discussions with the port on how we can better utilize the Fraser River, really to see some of these barges coming through and transporting goods and or services in some of the cases as well, which is having some good reception. We're going to have some more to share as we go through the coming years, I'm sure. Next slide, please. Same thing with rail. So Class 1 railroad right in our community and having access throughout the entire Vancouver Metro region, as well as through other key and substantial ports in Western Canada, and having those cost advantage from our side as well is something that is critical for any company that is utilizing manufacturing inputs or otherwise, and we want to make sure that folks are aware of that. Next slide. Actually, Cash, you could probably go through probably about 5 seconds for each over the next 10 or so. Really, a lot of this is going to be about some of the regional infrastructure and the investment that is coming into our community. And things like having our electrical transmission here ready for yourself for companies that are coming in. Oftentimes 3-phase power or others are not an issue for us. Continuing on from Invest Vancouver and some of the discussion that we had on post-secondaries, we do have a number of those that are represented well within Maple Ridge, as well as some private institutions. So for those companies that are looking at additional training or micro-credentialing, we do have that opportunity that's within Maple Ridge, and do have a consortium that is working on additional services that are potential to come into Maple Ridge and Pitt Meadows as well. Next slide. I wanted to speak with you just broadly. A lot of these are meant to show optionality of choice for those that are looking to develop a new area. This is kind of a rough map of Maple Ridge. It does substantially go to the north. We do have one key asset, the Golden Ears Park, Provincial Park. So for those that are outdoor enthusiasts, we oftentimes see them go in there. We've cut that off from the map here because it does make it even harder to read, believe it or not. But really what we wanted to show is that there is certainly an urban node that we have, an urban service area, as well as rural areas. So for those that would prefer to have their locations for business go within more of a rural area, that's something that we can also accommodate here in Maple Ridge, which is, I think, fairly unique, fairly special, and provides, once again, a different option for folks as they move ahead. Next slide, please. Another opportunity here is just, you have so many different neighborhoods to be able to choose from. It's a very connected community. We are very much focused on industrial and commercial growth. So that is something that I focused on here in this presentation. Lots of opportunities for folks as they are starting to look at new locations and being able to capture some new talent into their organizations as well. So something that we're seeing some substantial densification in, especially Hammond, West Maple Ridge, and Central Maple Ridge, into our downtown. We're seeing substantial investments that are coming into those areas, which we'll have a chance to show in a second. If you can move on to the next two, please. So just a little bit more detail there. Once again, the town center, and then on the next as well, just where we're focusing some of our development timelines, so to speak, for non-residential. So you can see on the west side with the red and the blue, those are areas that the red is effectively built out right now. It's ending, so to speak, or filling up and hitting completion. Those areas in the tealish blue are certainly under development right now, and we're working with those proponents. And then you can see along the foreshore and others. The other key for us is as those start to build out, now where are we starting to look additionally? And you can see that green area towards the north. We have a number of items that Maple Ridge Moves also connect in with. So economic superhighways that we're working on to connect east-west, as well as into Highway 7 that just abuts next to the river, to make sure that companies that do invest into the area are having good transportation access for all of their goods and services. We can go on to the next, please. Did want to share, just give a little bit of context of what Maple Ridge is about from a statistics and or kind of a process standpoint. How many permits do we go through? What is our community like? Next slide, please. You can see that we're an affluent community. So I said before, in comparison to some of those CMAs across the country, whether that be Montreal, Halifax, Toronto, or others, Calgary, or others, we are stacking up very well in comparison to them. So these are 2020 after-tax median household incomes. And even for those that may be aware of in the British Columbian or in the West or in the Metro Vancouver area, being able to see British Columbia's average or median after-tax household incomes, as well as West Vancouver and Maple Ridge a little bit further than those, is oftentimes surprising for them, but does present some very interesting opportunities for those that are wanting to have very qualified folks to invest into their companies, any of those types of things as well. Next slide, please. Once again, good growth when we compare across the country and into the region, into the province, head and shoulders above some of those other areas. That comes with its own set of challenges, which we are catching up from, rec centers and the like. But certainly our council and ourselves are investing into those and ensuring that we're meeting the community need here. Next, please. See roughly about 500 building permits issued annually. That is going to continue to tick up as we move ahead. Next slide. We can go through these next four pretty quickly there, Cash, just so we can keep on time. So just wanted to give you a sense of some of the development that's coming in. We do have those that are looking at mixed office and retail. Next slide, please. Mixed use, once again, for some new residential along one of our major corridors, as well as with ground floor commercial. And then one of the crown jewels here, E1 Molly Energy, has a proposed development that is within the area. This was from their development information meeting and public meeting to share some of the concepts that they're working on. So this is really exciting for us, something that we're certainly proud of them for moving forward with, and that they're squarely within advanced manufacturer that we're just so happy and proud that they're within our community here and within the region. Next slide, please. And then economic development. Ultimately, what do? I've talked your ear off on a lot of these items. If we can go to the next, that'll give you a bit of an idea. We personalize our service to you, whatever you may need, whether that's connections into the area, if you need to find lands, if you're looking for different granting, those types of items. Certainly want to be able to connect with yourself and tie you into these networks here and make sure that you're really successful as you're investing into Maple Ridge and into the region and supplying you with really good data. So the other thing that we do out of the department, which I want to make sure that we touch on very, very briefly, is we do tourism promotion as well as film development and permits. So if we can go to the next couple, please. Number of partners and ecosystems that are in the system. But film is something that is a surprise and actually has been a bit of an attractor for some of the companies that are coming in. Those that may want to engage with film, or those that really just kind of love the magic behind the glitz and glam of it all when you're seeing a movie. They like seeing this stuff and have a chance to get involved with the film industry as well. So oftentimes in the off times, for a lot of employees, they may get involved as extras or background workers and those types of things. So we've seen quite a few shoot days within Maple Ridge, some interesting films that have been here as well, and more that we'll be able to announce in the coming year. Next slide. And as I noted with Golden Ears Provincial Park, we see a ton of visitors into this area, just breathtaking views. So when you're done your workday, you have really some interesting opportunities to get out in a kayak, to go hiking, to go mountain biking, to go camping, to hit a day use park, any of those types of things with really some of these world-class views that are here. Next slide. And we have some upcoming events. We're a very active group. We want to make sure that companies are supported. So you can see things here. We're celebrating along with our friends at the Chamber here, a lot of work going into celebrating women in business. We have an innovation challenge on right now. There's an economic development summit that'll be hosted in Maple Ridge, October 11th. And next year is also our 150th anniversary. So we're well underway with the planning on that side, as well as hosting BC Summer Games in 2024 as well. So a lot of work with all of our partners or friends. Certainly want you all to be able to come into the area if you're interested or in the Vancouver Metro region. And really want to thank you for your time here. So Cash, on to the last slide, and to yourself, want to thank you once again for the opportunity to chat here today.
Thanks so much, Tyler and Christy, for your presentations and showing us all the various opportunities and developments happening in our regions here. It's truly an exciting time, and we're glad you guys could showcase some of the upcoming work that's happening in your regions that all our participants can benefit from. To complement and support your company's growth, NGen provides funding opportunities in the advanced manufacturing space. That's one of the areas we focus on within Canada. Today, I'll be speaking to you in detail about one of our current open funding challenges, which is the Electric Vehicle Manufacturing Value Chain Program, or EVMP. Again, these slides will be shared externally, and if you have any questions after this as well, feel free to reach out to us at ev-challenge@ngen.ca, and we'll be happy to talk to you further. For those of you who are not aware of who we are, so NGen is an industry-led, not-for-profit corporation, and we have a mandate to lead Canada's advanced manufacturing sector. NGen has a mandate to build world-leading advanced manufacturing capabilities in Canada, and we do that by enabling the development, scale-up, and deployment of technologies, advanced technologies in Canadian manufacturing. Since our inception in 2017, we have always abided by our 5 core elements or 5 pillars. The first being promoting Canadian capabilities. I think that's self-explanatory. Our mandate is to promote Canadian capabilities through and through. We also work on making connections, whether that is making connections between industry to industry partners, industry to research partners, helping build consortia that can establish successful projects, or just in general networking opportunities. Another arm of NGen focuses on building workforce and management capacity. I'll speak a little more about that towards the tail end of my presentation. And the fourth one being modernizing manufacturing footprint. So that's really amalgamating Industry 4.0 technologies, along with your manufacturing skill sets for your conventional and traditional manufacturing. And finally, the fifth one being funding collaborative innovation. This is where our team, the project development team, fits in, and part of the, and we'll go over a funding collaborative innovation opportunity in the next few slides here. And for any other information, as well as a refresher on any of this information, feel free to go to our website, NGen.ca. You'll see a lot more information there, and you can always reach out to us. So why are we here today? In 2021, NGen launched our first EV manufacturing related program. In that, we received over $180 million worth of applications. That was across 80 industry partners. We ended up funding $76 million worth of projects across 34 partners, across 15 projects. And to note, 7 of those 15 projects were interprovincial collaborations. Overall, at NGen, we have cumulatively funded over $140 million in EV manufacturing innovation from across 100 industry partners through Canada and across the EV value chain, from processing of critical minerals all the way to battery and vehicle manufacturing. Of course, a lot has changed in Canada's automotive industry since our last 2021 EV manufacturing program. We've seen billions of dollars of anchor investments being made across Canada, from Bécancour, Quebec, to the Volkswagen PowerCo battery plant in St. Thomas, to Stellantis LG Solutions plant in Windsor, among the various other recent announcements. All of these will need to be supported by a robust automotive innovation ecosystem. Federal Industry Minister François-Philippe Champagne calls these investments a generational opportunity and one of the biggest transformations that we've seen in the industrial landscape in modern times. Our objective at NGen is to use our funding to complement and support these anchor investments and help build out the emerging EV value chains here in Canada with made in Canada manufacturing technologies and capabilities. This EVMP challenge will focus on the scale up and commercialization of transformative, collaborative, business-led projects that target the value chain of battery EVs and fuel cell EVs. In terms of key dates, we're looking at a screening or expression of interest deadline of October 11, 2023, so coming up quickly here in a few weeks. Now let's take a look at eligible project types for NGen and specific EV value chain areas that we want to be focusing on. We're looking at projects that focus on the development of either an advanced manufacturing technology, a novel manufacturing process, or circular economy processes and capabilities. So first and foremost, our projects have to be driven by process innovation. The second thing is all our projects must be transformative in nature, i.e. that they must have material impact on manufacturing performance and confer significant global advantage to the Canadian industry. All NGen projects must be collaborative in nature, and they should be demonstrating meaningful collaboration by a minimum of 2 Canadian industry partners. All our projects need to be applied, but they need to generate significant commercial and economic benefits, including jobs, maintenance, and creation. And lastly, all NGen projects need to be enduring to provide broader economic benefits to Canada's advanced manufacturing ecosystem. Specifically targeting the following eligible areas for road-based EV value chains: processing of critical minerals, traction batteries, their components and subsystems, fuel cells, their components and systems, power electronics, electric machines, including e-motors and gearboxes, and significant vehicle lightweighting directed at EVs. And just a note, manufacturing of hybrid powertrains are in scope, but only for the electric and or zero emission aspects of the architecture. Just a few examples of projects out of scope. Projects that focus primarily on product development as opposed to process innovation, projects that do not contribute to the development of EV value stream, projects related to off-road vehicles, projects related to internal combustion engine based powertrains and internal combustion based aspects of hybrid powertrains, projects related to EV charging infrastructure, related to extraction of raw ore, projects that subsidize full-scale commercial production, projects related to experimental work without any direct commercial application, projects where benefits accrue to a single firm or organization, and finally, any routine or period changes made to existing products, production lines, or other operations. So as you can see, these sort of counter the 5 key pillars that all our projects are based on. Again, if you do have a project in mind and you're unsure if it's within or without scope, within or out of scope, feel free to reach out to us and we can happily chat with you further. As I've noted before, all our NGen projects must be collaborative in nature and will need to apply as a project consortia. What is a project consortia? It must include at least 2 unassociated industry partners, termed a lead and a partner. And a formal collaborative partner is one that contributes funding in the form of cash, background IP to the project, and collaborates on the development of foreground IP, and will receive funding from NGen. The consortium must include at least 1 small to medium enterprise as a partner, and that's defined as some entity less than 500 employees globally. And finally, for this challenge, the consortium must demonstrate a clear path to commercialization. They must demonstrate the involvement and or support in the form of an industry-based market pull company, that is a potential customer, or a vehicle manufacturer, or a tier 1 business. Involvement would typically or ideally be in the form of a collaborative partner or the provision of in-kind support. If neither of those are feasible, then at minimum, a strong and credible letter of support demonstrating an agreement to commercializing the project outcomes will be required to be provided. Going into the finer details of the eligibility criteria for this challenge, all applicants, these are the eligible applicant types. It could be for-profit organizations that are incorporated with value-added presence in Canada, not-for-profit organizations that facilitate R&D, but whose funding or revenue is primarily received from the private sector, non-federal crown corporations whose funding is derived from commercial activities, and Indigenous organizations. We look at projects with the value of roughly $1.5 to $8 million. NGen works on a reimbursement model, so we would reimburse up to 37% of eligible expenses. Eligible expenses include categories such as labor, subcontractor, capital and equipment, material and supplies, travel, other costs such as IP-related costs. So as you can see, it's not just labor. There are other categories we look to reimburse with. To make it collaborative in nature, any one partner cannot receive more than 70% off the NGen funding amount. There is an admin fee, 3.5% of the total project value, which is paid further down the line during the contracting phase if your project does get selected for funding. The duration of the project terms cannot last beyond March 31st, 2028. And at NGen, we allow a stacking limit of 100% here. Now let's take a look at the application process and some of the key dates. The 2 major gateways we've bolded here. Applicants must have to submit their project for screening by October 11th, 2023 at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll go over this in a second here. Once the project development team has assessed the applications to ensure that they are in scope, applicants will gain access to the full application, which is then due by November 15th, 5 p.m. Eastern again. The full application is the bulk of the work, so we highly recommend applicants to submit their projects for screening earlier rather than later. The application portal is open to accept applications, and we can go over that again in the next slide here. Once the full application is then submitted, it will be passed into an assessment stage where an independent panel of experts will grade each project and assess and score each application. If a project is successful and recommended for funding, they will then enter the contracting phase or the contracting stage, where documents are brought up to a certain standard and quality, where legally binding documents will be developed and executed, such as a collaboration agreement between partners of the consortium and a master project agreement between the consortium and NGen. Once the contracting period is complete, then projects can commence and start incurring eligible expenses. What are the requirements for project screening? So this is the first gateway here coming up October 11th. For that, you require a description of a project proposal, 1,000 words maximum, contact information for all partners, at least 1 lead contact and 1 finance contact per partner. You need a signed NGen application agreement by all partners, a high-level financial proposal, which is a breakdown of the funding sought by NGen, the cash contributions, in-kind contributions, and any other sources of government funding. And at that point, NGen will commence financial due diligence, where we will assess each partner's ability to support their financial commitment to the project. And we'll evaluate criteria such as profitability, liquidity, leverage indebtedness, and cash flow. Again, as I mentioned earlier, we're highly encouraging applicants to submit projects for screening as early as possible. Don't wait until the deadline. This allows you sufficient time to complete the full application once you've passed through screening by our team. Requirements to go to a full application. This is the deadline by November 15th. There'll be 10 application assessment questions. which have a character count of 7,000 words, 7,000 character count. You'll submit a project plan, a detailed project plan, a risk register, an IP plan. Each partner will submit a financial workbook and any additional attachments that we require, such as the letters of support that we had spoken about earlier. So in a nutshell, that's the application process. Now, of course, if you need collaborative project partners, if you're unsure if your project idea is in scope or not, or if you have any other general questions about this challenge, we are here to support you and walk you through your project and walk you through your consortium and understand what makes sense and how to build a good application. Reach us at ev-challenge@ngen.ca. Apart from that, NGen also has a virtual matchmaking platform. You can post a project idea, match, and just generally connect with potential partners to help form a consortium. You can find that at our website, ngen.ca/evmp-collaboration-portal. Again, these slides will go out after the presentation, so you'll have a chance to get to the link as well. You can go to that and browse for existing projects, existing companies who are looking for expertise. You can publish your expertise and just generally network and connect with others for this challenge. After this event, we have two other upcoming events specific to this funding stream, the EVMP. The first one being tomorrow. So if anyone is interested to gain further information about their application, doesn't know where to start, I would highly encourage you to register for the project development workshop that's happening tomorrow. Once screening has passed and the set number of projects have been pushed into application development, we will conduct another project development workshop, which will be virtually done October 19th. Watch out for our social media pages for how to register. And if you have any questions on how to register, don't hesitate to reach out to us and we can help you with that as well. Apart from this EVMP challenge, we are looking at various other sectors in the advanced manufacturing area. Over the summer, we closed on our first challenge, the General Advanced Manufacturing Challenge this year. We're currently in the contracting phase of working with those consortiums to get through and get their projects kicked off and executed. The second pillar here is the EVMP challenge, which I spoke about. We've also recently launched an advanced manufacturing commercialization of quantum technologies in partnership with the digital cluster. Again, reach out to us at project@ngen.ca if you'd like to chat further about that specific funding channel. And likely in 2024, you'll start seeing further information about our industrial decarbonization and circular manufacturing funding stream that is currently undergoing subject matter expert consultation at this point. Separate from project funding, NGen also has a workforce development arm of our organization, namely our Future Ready initiative. We're helping Canadian manufacturing footprint modernize and upskill their workforce. It's made up of two programs, the first one being Transformational Leadership Program. TLP is a 12-week program which will provide leadership teams of SME manufacturers with the tools to self-assess their businesses and find areas that can be matured to be globally competitive and develop a roadmap to correct areas that may hamper success, and in process strategically align their businesses to the needs of their customers. An astonishing figure is 97% of companies don't benchmark. 97% of companies don't know what their competitors are doing. The participating organizations here in the TLP will only pay $1,500 for the program, which normally costs upward of $7,500 for such a program. Based on those gaps and opportunities that were identified in the TLP, companies then have an option to take part in the second initiative, the AMP-UP program. Here's where companies can select employees for upskilling and working with an NGen training liaison to undergo assessments and to create upskilling plans, personalized upskilling plans. Through the AMP-UP program, companies will get 80% reimbursement on upskilling their selected employees, up to a maximum reimbursement amount of $4,000. This also includes skill assessments and upskilling support worth an additional $3,000. So altogether, this $15,500 package will cost an organization only $2,500 to take part. Funding is available on a first-come, first-served basis for up to 300 manufacturers across Canada. Do register for Future Ready if you are interested in building your company's strategic transformation plan and developing the workforce, you'll need to support it. If you have any more questions specific to the future ready, do not hesitate to reach out to our colleagues at transform@ngen.ca, and one of our team members will be more than happy to pick up the phone and discuss anything about this program with you in more detail. And with that, that's the last slide of my presentation here. Again, related to the EVMP, if you have any general inquiries or questions, feel free to reach out to us at ev-challenge@ngen.ca. All of our official guides, resources, and templates can be found on our website under our funding page for challenges, and you go to our open funding opportunities, being the EV manufacturing value chain program. My name is Akash Rao. My email will be with this presentation when I send it out. Don't hesitate to reach out to me if you have any questions about NGen and how we can support you. With that, I will end my slides here, and we have about 8 minutes here, and we'll definitely open up the floor for any questions from any of the attendees here.
Cash, maybe I'll ask just a general one, just for the benefit of the entire group here. If a company is really truly at a bit of an ideation phase for this right now, is this an opportunity for them here today or this week to reach out to folks from NGen to start to see if this is the right opportunity for them to go with, or if that's later on down the road?
Absolutely, and we're encouraging companies to reach out to us regardless of the challenge. We're open to talking, not just if they fit within this EVMP challenge per se, but there could be other avenues that we could help them out with, whether that could be making connections, collaborations. Maybe they don't fit within the context of this challenge. They could be better suited for another challenge, or maybe they want to discuss workforce development and transformation. So regardless of the circumstance, do reach out to us at our general line, project@ngen.ca, and we're happy to initiate any sort of conversation at any given level with you.
And that's regardless of where they may be in Canada at this point, correct?
Absolutely, yeah. Well, this is a pan-Canadian challenge. We're looking for collaborations and companies to come up from all parts of the country. There's no limitation for you have to have a consortium restricted to certain geographical areas. And I think I'd mentioned this, a consortium must be a minimum of 2 companies, so it can be more than 2 as well if need be. Okay, I think we don't have any live questions going on at this time. Once again, I do want to highly thank Tyler and Christy and Brian, who isn't here, but thank you very much for showcasing what this region has to offer. I hope I speak for all the attendees here. There's a lot of work going on locally within BC, and there's a lot of opportunities for companies to explore. Where NGen, we are trying to complement those companies by providing whatever we can in our capacity here to help each company grow and succeed within Canada and promote that advanced manufacturing capability. So with that, thank you very much to all our attendees for participating. Tyler, Christy, anything to add from your end?
Just a big thank you from our end, both from Invest Vancouver and the City of Maple Ridge. Certainly do appreciate the opportunity to speak with you all here, and look forward to seeing this a very robust challenge with a lot of folks that are going into it.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks, everyone.